Hi, Paul Gorney from Luxury Living in Chicago. If you'd like to buy a home in Chicago, you have to be aware of a couple of the biggest mistakes that people make. At the very beginning, before they even get started, they kind of put themselves at risk sometimes. And there's also some things that you want to be aware of once you get started that will keep you getting the best place and from making mistakes. So we'll take a look at that right now. Just call, text, email. People do all the time with questions or help they need. One of the top agents in Chicago for the last 30 years and have a lot of insight that others don't. So just reach out if you need anything, days, nights, weekends, anytime. So looking at buying a home in Chicago, well, take you through some of the most important steps, kind of a guide to buying a home in Chicago. So number one, before we get into the nitty gritty of how you do it, the best ways to do it, and some of the practical things, you need to look at your source of information. So when you're looking at potential properties, off-market listings, negotiating, inspections, there's so many things. But before you get running down that road, look at who you're getting your information from. So you need to find the best agent to help you. And that is a really important and customized thing. So a lot of people will give general advice, especially kind of newer or less experienced agents will talk a lot about finding someone you're comfortable with and, that was helped a friend and things like this, which is all kind of good basic advice. But before you get there, you want to find someone that's at the top of the market as far as experience level, connections, resources, someone that you can trust more than others, especially now in a changing market. We're just going into another cycle right now. And, when you've seen people lose money and make mistakes, it's good to have those resources with you so you don't end up in that same position. So, I myself am one of the top agents in the city for the last 30 years, help a lot of our business leaders, professional athletes, help anyone that needs help, from first-time buyers through luxury properties, have a tremendous amount of resources. So operate at a very high level. So this is how I see things. And, there's always new people in real estate and things like that. But come on, you want to get somebody that really knows what they're doing. So once you have that established, you want to take a look at, having, kind of like a little meeting between us. So I can take you through some of the things that you need to be prepared for, how things work, answer questions, make sure that we're really comfortable with one another and we're on the same page, so that we have just a great plan that will get you results. I want to understand what's most important to you and make sure that what's important to you is something that is realistic and that we'll be able to accomplish. So that's step one. And then step two, it's important to get a lender, a local lender, not an internet lender, and someone that will have a lot of credibility. When you're making an offer, people will know the person and know the company and accept that pre-approval and talk good about it to their seller, so that we get the best price. We can negotiate without any problems or uncertainties. So when you have like an internet bank, a lot of agents don't like internet banks. There's a lot of complications sometimes, and we've all had a lot of problems with banks like that. So a good trusted lender that can help you get an offer accepted and at a better price. So third thing you want to do is to really understand like timing, neighborhood, the realities of the process. So that's something that I would help you with. Understand like what's the timing on new construction right now? What's the timing on resales? When are properties coming on the market? When can sales dip potentially and get a better deal? And kind of match this up with your lease or your home sale that you have, and make sure you have the best situation. So when you buy a home in Chicago, you want to get all this done up front for success. Other thing is, when you go to inspect a home, you want to make sure that you have a good inspector that's, not going to, a lot of them will kind of almost make stuff up sometimes. Some of them, I mean, I've seen it, I've been told it, I've had them double checked and by other inspectors, and I've heard the stories, I've seen the results from certain inspectors where they have actually made things up and are trying to promote themselves as, some big time inspector that'll save you money, help you renegotiate your contract, but they're doing a disservice to people that just want to buy the house and be safe. They're kind of putting their own self-interest above the people that they're trying to serve. So not everyone's like that, but there are some. So I have a few inspectors that I've worked with for 12, 14 years, and I know we can trust them. I've been through so many situations. I've seen how they've dealt with clients with questions or issues that come up later sometimes. I mean, yeah, this is important stuff to have that comfort level, especially if you're making a luxury purchase or you're a first-time buyer just trying to figure things out for the first time. So you want to take things one step at a time, again, considering the darn source of your information. Otherwise, people go down all kinds of crazy roads and make mistakes. So pricing, so what you can get for your money, what's realistic, maybe looking at higher prices to get at least perspective, not just like making a common mistake where people set a number, they want to hold to that, and then they'll go a month or two, get frustrated, look at a bunch of places and say, well, okay, we'll bump it up to X. It's best to just bump it up to X. You don't have to buy it that high, but do it at the beginning, because that way you're getting perspective. You might find a great deal that's maybe underpriced, or maybe something that really is great that you would be missing out on if you weren't kind of pushing yourself and getting some, really skilled advice and insight to the market while you're getting started. So again, there's a lot of realtors. There's like 1.5 million in the United States. When you need something and you want to rely on it, because there's people circulating in and out of the business all the time, and there's people that are very nice and dress well and speak well, but if you look at their sales record and not just the shiny object sales record of I did this and this and this, but really look at it like, what have they sold over the last 10 years? Do they have insight into the market? Do they know what happened the last time the market went down, and then how it came back and what the trends were? I mean, these are critical things. So you don't want to just get somebody that's nice. I'm nice, but I just know a lot more. So, and I take my clients, very seriously and what they need. So just, again, call, text if you need anything. The last thing I'll say, when you're buying a home in Chicago, there's developing areas. So again, getting some good advice about what could actually be on an upswing, what could be a good place to invest and live and get familiar with, maybe places that you're not as familiar with, and then what places are kind of top dollar, maybe again, not to overuse it, but a shiny market, kind of everybody's in an uproar over it, but maybe the underpinnings of it are not good, for long-term success. Maybe the supply level is going to be getting much higher. Maybe it's kind of falling out of favor. There's a developing area that is, going to be better. I mean, you really need to understand these things. So you're happy, you make a good investment, and you can stick with your time frame. If you want to sell in 1, 2, 3 years, you want to be in an area where you can really pull that off, because I have seen people, not my clients, but others, when I step in to help them, who, made some bad decisions and they are losing money or barely breaking even, and they're just not excited. So those are the basics in Chicago. If you want to step back, look at the big picture, the market was decimated in the late 80s. It was decimated at the internet bubble around 99, I think. And then the market just went up like crazy, of course, in 2007, around then, 2006. Got to some just crazy numbers. And then, of course, dropped down dramatically in 08, 09. Didn't start coming back until 12. And then it, went back, pretty well. But then, it's just gotten to a fever pitch now. So we're at another point. Interest rates are going up. What's this all going to mean to smaller properties, luxury homes? What are people's mentalities? How are negotiations changing now? You're starting to see some signs, like some very slight signs, and I can kind of speculate what that's going to mean in the future. So, in Chicago and nationwide, there's going to be some changes, and the agents I know in different markets typically will start seeing things more in like Florida, Arizona, California. You'll see them more before they hit Chicago. So I have a lot of agents that I'm connected to and have referred business to. I have a lot of information, what's going on there and the changes, because Arizona saw a lot of changes before 08, 09, before Chicago did. So just reach out if you need anything at all, and we'll get you on a plan for success here.